Welcome to the engineering ground session. We are now going to talk about the new kit frames and modules, and I'm giving the word to Vivi explaining his Vashlar build. Go ahead, Vivi.
Oh, right, okay. First thing to note about this build, I'll do pretty much the obvious thing. Probably one of the more infamous engineer abilities, the Chronoson Mine Barrier. Now, when this is deployed, it usually means either the defending a point or offending a point. And the kit usually associated before Season 9 with this was the enemy neutralization kit, with all the fancy little powers like bombs and weapons malfunction, fuse armors, that kind of thing. Usually things to attack opponents using a fortress. So when you think of a bunker fabrication, you have things like turrets, mortars, shield generators, things like that. You would be defending yourself. With this, you are offending with a fortress instead. So you will be running up to the enemy, perhaps deploying this, maybe this core shield here, and then maybe placing a bomb, say, here. Maybe if you're lucky, you glitch it out and put it in front of the cover shield while behind it, because you can do that. But in any case, this kit usually, with these modules nowadays after Season 9, is usually best for this type of strategy.
Oh, please, can you put it in the chat?
This is the kit I've got right now. Experimental kit. It's exactly the same as I put it with before Season 9. It's got the basic old enemy neutralization kit. You've got Chronoson mines, weapons malfunction, the fuse armor, the transphysic bomb, and the quantum mortars, which I've upgraded to purple quality because modules can do that nowadays as well. So I also have the ability of mortars. I won't bother to doing them right now because they'll destroy half of it. But they will. But I do have the quantum mortar proc in it. So not only can I, run up to people and blow up in the face and disable them, but I can also shoot them from a long distance without doing anything. Because, well, this thing has its advantages and its disadvantages. Disadvantages is you are always in the thick of it. I've always preferred this strategy. But the advantage of this is you get to explode your opponents in very fanciful ways, and you tend to be one of your primary DPSs of your team simply because of what you're doing. Everyone follow me so far?
Yep.
Yes.
Right, okay. Now, Tracker, you wouldn't mind being a test dummy for this, would you? I'm just going to throw a couple of powers on for you.
Obviously not.
Right, okay then. First one is fuse armor. Now, this ability is it's a disable. It will prevent them from running. It's a stun and a root, and it does a little bit of electrical damage as well. Not many players have a significant amount of electrical damage, which means that it will do a fair bit to them. So it does have the advantages of holding them when they're above the Chronoson mines. You pop this immediately out with them, or you can use the Divinian Cairn, like so. So if I placed the Chronoson mines beneath all three of it, you'd be dead, because they would have exploded in your face if I didn't have sufficient resistance. The second power is weapons malfunction. Now that chained actually to Tomrin there because I have a doff. Both fuse armor and weapons malfunction I have doffs with. Pretty much everything on this kit I have a doff with, because why not buff everything you have? Simple, really. Now the weapons malfunction is basically the primary antagonist of a tactical. If you see a tactical, you pop this. Basically, it's as simple as that. Now,
one question to everyone, not you. Why?
Because
No, not please, not you.
Oh.
Anyone else? Why use this ability?
Available malfunction or fuse armor?
Both.
For the tax, it's good against tax if certain tech player is using powers like launch, then stealth and that kind of stuff. With fuse armor, you will basically slow him down, and with weapons malfunction, you will shut down his weapon.
Which basically leaves them dead in the water. They can't do anything.
Exactly.
And open to attack.
How can you
Right,
defend,
yeah, yeah.
how can you defend against use armor or weapons malfunction?
Things like rally cry or certain science abilities.
Overwatch also.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on. Vivi.
Okay, now I've already described the quantum mines. I'm going to describe this thing, the transphasic bomb. Now, this thing, some of you might have doubts about this, but this is what it can do basically. Now, you see their health has gone significantly down. That's because the bomb is a very powerful explosive. It's targetable, as you've probably seen, but if you place it in the right position, you can explode it. Now, beware of this power, because sometimes if you're disabled whilst placing it down, it won't go down, or if you're killed when it's still active, it won't explode, something like that. So be careful with power. But if you put it in the right position, it can do a significant amount of damage.
And so, what's that power called?
The transphasic bomb, this one.
Transphasics, right? Okay, yeah, gotcha.
You can see it on the kit
Wow.
description.
Now, Zhao was right on top of that thing, and it did a significant amount of damage to him. He probably has a good resistance to shield, so it didn't do his shield any good. But his health went bracket down to a quarter, a third. And that's what it can do. Now, I'll ask you a question. Where's usually if it's targetable, and it's very specific to how it plays, a question for you. Where do you think is the best place to place this bomb around your fortress, if around your fortress at all?
The entrance.
In the
Entrance.
corner.
Behind
of
the
entrance.
corner of the entrance.
Corner, so it's not visible.
Exactly.
No idea.
Because
Yeah,
it's
you're all right there.
targetable.
Spud was very specific in that area. The bit that's not visible, the bit around the side of the corner where you wouldn't normally look, or if they are looking, it's a bit too late because they just come around the corner.
You run into it.
Yeah, basically. So you usually pop that, provided you're not dead already, as soon as they come around the corner. As that is, if you don't have your mines already in the doorway.
Question.
Go for it.
Does the transphasic bomb explode if you deploy it but do not explode it and you die? Or it goes not?
Both actually. If left for a sufficient amount of time without exploding, it will explode by itself, unless it's shot in the meantime, or you explode it in the meantime as well. But it will provide the same amount of damage either way. So you can explode it, you can leave it to explode, or it can get shot.
So if you deploy it, you die. It will certainly again explode after say 10 seconds or something.
It's not as short as that. It's usually about a minute maybe. It's quite a long time before it explodes by itself.
It's
right, okay.
transphasic bomb Mark IV for 35 seconds. After 3 seconds, it will detonate.
Yeah, it's usually longer than that. The descriptions are a little
Yeah.
bleh. Now, the remaining power I have on my kit is the mortars. Now, I'm going to deploy these for this time, so prepare yourself for incoming mortar
Okay,
fire.
clear the platform, the opposite team.
Oh, I didn't proc.
Don't get killed.
Oh, tracker.
Yeah, you
Standard on
track.
tracker immediately. Right, unfortunately this didn't
Check
proc
the
this time,
target.
but that's what it can do. Now, imagine 3 of those. 2 of them Mark 3s, this one's a Mark 4. And you can place them in a place where you can shoot anywhere. Now, it's where would you put these? I'll ask you all again.
Out of sight.
Yeah,
High
pretty
places.
much.
Center
Yeah.
of the map.
What sort of distance can you place them?
Quite far. You've got
Yeah.
a decent range on them.
The range is pretty far, and
Let's
Like,
put
are we
it this way, if
talking
you put
10?
it in,
20?
if you went into a simulated cruiser, you could probably place one
that's not good, is it? That column thingy.
Place one dead center and it'll cover 70-80% of the map.
That's because of the map creation that was how it was created. It shouldn't be almost the entire map, but that's Cryptic's fault.
I'd like to place mine up here.
Okay, let's move on, please. Have another one more kit to.
That's pretty much it for this kit. The rest of them are pretty generic powers, and you can use them in conjunction. Orbital strike, particularly, will be very handy when offending.
We don't need to demonstrate that one.
You
all
sure?
All know
Mhm.
how it's. Anything else for Vivi to ask? You want to ask Vivi regarding that kit build? Anyone?
No, nothing.
Okay. So, the next kit we are gonna cover, we are going to call it Bunker. So it's more defensively oriented than the Vivi's, which is quite offensive. So, let's one moment to get the kit.
I've already put one into the chat.
So this is what I use. Let's say
That's what I use.
let's say
Also bunker kit.
what module would you activate first in that kit?
Minefields.
Why?
Because you can place down 2 within the time that the first one expires. Plus, they're going to be the first ones to go in the line of
So
defense.
let's demonstrate then. So
It also prevents anyone else from getting close, which gives you time to place the other stuff.
yeah, so one. This. Another minefield. Proccing turret. Flamethrower turrets. Quantum. And so in this kit you are basically staying in this area here beside your shield generator. You have your quantum mortar, your phaser turrets, flamethrower turret, 2 minefields covering you from where the enemy is coming, and also you put a cover shield. So you have an awesome cover to actually destroy your enemy from afar. So you don't need to go so offensively and get yourself killed. Any questions?
Shane's about to die.
And I want to demonstrate something here.
Okay.
Hold on. No, stop. Unlike what just Hershey shows in one option of the bunker kit. Now, mine is second one. Mine is more a blocker regarding the defense. That means mine is more, say, in certain situations to block enemy passes. For example, my tactics is first go with the Chronometer Mine like he did. Then use the flamethrower turret, quantum mortar, and finally something unusual. Force field dome. Now, force field dome basically blocks enemy physical attack. That means if a tactical wants to use lunge on you, he cannot do it because your force field dome is protecting you against this.
So they can. You are essentially blocking the route to the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically with this, it also blocks, protects your teammates, say, Shantytown Bridge. Perfect situation. Force field dome, in front of force field dome before you use it, you use Chronometer Mines, and behind turrets and quantum mortar, in the middle just like Lorotai did, just medical generator, cover shield, and force return. Your team is safe and protected, while attacks of the opposition side can do nothing. They can just try to snipe you from behind, but in the by the time that tag player decides to do that, he will die by the mortars and turrets. So my type of build is kind of a blocker, you know, bunker blocker option B build.
So we have an offensive one, a blocker, a defensive one. Any questions regarding those kits? Okay, think we are done then.
Yay!
This was the
Now go to
engineering,
Masai.
and I'll see you next time for the science one. Bye!